Good morning. My name is Shern Min Chow, and I'm with Channel 11, and delighted to be back with you again at the annual Spring Spirit Breakfast. I am a proud SBISD Spring Spirit mom, retired baseball mom to two boys who played, and an Astros fan like I'm sure everyone in this room, and privileged to have covered the Astros World Series run the last couple of years. We want to thank you very much for attending again, and we have had a record turnout. You may have seen some of the overflow tables in the foyer here. So if the fire marshal knocks, nobody answer the door, please. And you will know why, because of our guest speaker today. I know you are very excited to applaud and acknowledge our amazing honorees, Susan and Jim Jackson, Beth and Skylar Tilney, and of course, you know, I feel like I'm standing next to the ESPN set right here. We have Lance Berkman interviewing the owner of your 2022 World Series champions, the Houston Astros, Jim Crane, in the house. A packed morning, and as I like to do each year, I'd like to take a lovely photograph of your smiling, beautiful faces. So it's a pano. If you will stand still, don't move just for a moment. Look at this camera, and I'm going to pano around the room, and then I'll Twitterverse it, Insta TikTok it. No, not TikTok, but you know. Do my best here. Everybody smile. Don't move or you'll blur. Can't have any blurring. You're all hired. Get agents. Thank you very much for joining us, and thank you to everybody who made this morning possible, especially our breakfast chairs, Ann Laura and Steve Stevens. Please join me in welcoming them up onto the stage. Ann Laura and Steve.
Well, good morning, everybody, and thanks for being here early. Ann Laura and I are truly feel special to be able to be the chairs and to give thanks for what's happened at Spring Spirit Organization. Sherman, thank you not only for today, but I think she's come to every one of the 14 breakfasts. Also, a special thanks to Kara and Lance Berkman for being our honorary breakfast co-chairs, also for many years. But more importantly, look around the room at this incredible display of generosity. And let's give each of you and all of our sponsors that have been on the list, let's give them a big round of applause. You know, it takes a lot of people to make the magic and blessing of Spring Spirit to work. But there are special people that really have the passion and really the heart to see something we always don't see in different areas of need. I actually moved to Spring Branch in 1968, grew up in Spring Branch, and I've been over Pitner Road. And I saw those overgrown fields, and I saw those apartment complexes, but I never thought of a world-class facility to really change the lives of underprivileged youth, and that's what's happened with Spring Spirit. But you got to have the people that see it ahead of time, and that's part of the excitement for the day, is we have those visionaries here to honor. So it is our pleasure collectively to ask Susan and Jim Jackson and Beth and Skylar Tilney to come up here and tell us a little bit more about the vision that they saw. And of course, Kenny and Melissa were part of that vision as well. So Kenny, I think you've got something to give to our honorees. There he is, Kenny Baldwin. Everybody, round of applause, please. Thank you.
Can y'all hear me in the back? I went somewhere to speak one time, and there was a note on the pulpit that said, "Please speak up. The agnostics in here are terrible." On behalf of Beth and Skylar and Susan and me, we're a little overwhelmed this morning. Our best friends in the world are in this room, and we feel very honored to be here. Just a word about the past. Sometimes churches have great visions, but they really are not able to make the vision a reality to the extent that they're not able to fulfill the dream. The church that I served for 20 years had a great vision and wanted to do something to help the people in our larger parish area that had the greatest need. And we decided we would, every time we had a capital funds campaign, we would give a minimum of 10% towards others. It ended up being 15 or 20% both times. First time we built a community center on Pittner. It had 2 medical clinics, a dental clinic, a charter elementary school, and a Boys and Girls Club. Very nice project. Next time we felt led to buy property, and we bought another large piece of property on Pittner Road and one on Campbell Road, which now houses both parts of Spring Spirit. To be quite honest with you, we didn't know what to do, and we sat on that property for 2 or 3 years. And one day, Kenny told me he was retiring. He was 49 years old. I said, "Kenny, you got 2 young kids at the house. You can't, that's a bad example for your kids. What are you going to do with the rest of your life?" And he said, "Well, I've had this dream of this facility that helped kids the way I was helped as a kid. I want to just kind of give back." I didn't know that he was looking at property. He had looked at 3 different tracts, and guess where 2 of them were? The one on Pittner Road and the one on Campbell Road that we just happened to own. And I said, "Kenny, if you'll do that, we'll give you the property, and because we're not able to do this by ourselves. And it can be a big ecumenical project that everybody participates in, and we'll even help you some." But and Kenny, but to be quite honest with you, and I don't want to put Kenny down now, but he could not have done this at all if it hadn't been for Beth Tilney. Beth Tilney was the quarterback who called the plays and made all this become a reality. Beth has been unwilling to be recognized up to now, and but today I thank God for Beth Tilney, for her vision, for the fact that all of you have connected with this, and together we're able to change the world. Thank you, Beth Tilney.
It is always a mistake to follow talking when somebody like this talks first, but just a couple of words. Beth, do you want to say anything? No, I know. You're going to kick me in the knees. Look, all I got to say is this. I have 600 very, very special friends sitting around here, and I wouldn't know 3/4 of them if it wasn't for you 2 couples. And I'm so thankful, because these are special, special people. And what we're doing at Spring Spirit, every one of you is a partner, and we're honored to be your partners in kingdom building. So thank y'all very much for being here. Jim and Susan, thank y'all so much. Beth and Skylar, and Beth and Skylar and Jim and Susan. It's a special deal. Thank you. Yeah.
Congratulations again to Susan and Jim, Beth and Skylar. And thanks to Ann, Laura, and Steve, Lance, and Kara, and thanks to the entire board of directors for Spring Spirit. Could you stand so that we can recognize you, please, for the board? I'm looking at Beth Patrick Mahomes Tilney now in a whole new way, Miss QB. And we want you now to go ahead and turn towards the screens for a little video that shares a bit of who Spring Spirit is.
Matias is the most kind kid that I never see. He has a big heart. He is goofy. He's very smart. He's very athletic. And the most important part that I love about him is stronger to get his goal happen. Spring Spirit, the most important part is get the kids' heart, and then their mind, and then the body.
Well, the concept of Whole Child has always been central to our vision. In the early days, we had a sports and recreation ministry, and that was it. And then we started the ministry component, and then we started the education component, and now we have a critical mass in all of those, that we have touches with these kids in a number of different ways.
Here, when he comes, he told me, Mommy, do you know that we pray every day? And do you know that God did this to us and did that to other people, and He created the world, and all that kind of thing that you don't know as a parent how you can teach that to a 6 years old. And that was great. So I get a little emotional because it's something that you don't see, but it's amazing seeing 7 years old as a, you know, a beautiful heart. And I think this society needs to see that and not see money and 100 and your grades.
It's about getting kids when they're younger and young enough that you can build a relationship with them and with their families, because we're not a substitute to their families, we are a complement to their families. It's not just Spring Spirit, it's Spring Spirit and the partners that we have, that I think we do a good job of using that trusting relationship to support the families, support the parents, and support the kids in their own life journey.
It's not a secret for anybody that if your child wants to do an extracurricular activity, everything is so expensive. And as a single mom, you think, I want to do grocery or I want him to develop some sports. This big opening for moms as me that work hard, but it's never enough to cover all the expensive, is a good door to come in and show the kids that they can do it. Last year, he went to the tryouts for Toros and he didn't make it. So the coach explaining to him why he didn't make it. They don't say you are not good enough. They say you are good, but you need to get better in this and this and this. And I promise you that you will be a really good Toros. So he did work, he did come, and he made it. And he's so excited about it.
I call it a multidisciplinary approach. We bring all the people together twice a year that are working with the kids. And you can start to see where there's stability and where there's instability. And where there's instability, then we can say, what's the best 1 or 2 things we can do to support them for the next 6 months until we meet again.
And actually the teacher called me one day, he's doing great in Spanish and English. And I was like, oh my God, that's thing to Spring Spirit, right? Because my first language is Spanish, so it's hard for me teaching him how he can pronounce the stuff.
And our goal is to have 100% of our kids reading at level by the time they go to middle school. So we have, working with the school district, identified a curriculum that they use in the schools, and we've set up programming that augment what the schools do to help the kids improve. And we can see it has impact, it's clear. I think if we can make a difference in this community, it would be a demonstration that that kind of difference can be made in other communities as well.
They impact the heart, the soul, and the mind. And if they want that for the kids to grow with more stronger personality and kind and respectful, just open that Spring Spirit door.
Everybody here gets notes from a kid that says, thank you for believing in me and helping me and persevering with me and supporting me and encouraging me and, you know, teaching me tough life lessons.
Spring Spirit changed my life as a mom, and for that reason, I want to change some other moms' life.
Wow, what a powerful testimony. Thank you, Andrina, for sharing your story with us. Good morning and welcome, everyone. My name is Steve Schwartzbach, and for the past 2 years, I've had the honor of being the board chair for Spring Spirit. So on behalf of the entire board and our incredible team, I'm proud to go over a few of the highlights that we had last year, all within the lens of the Whole Child Initiative. When you look at the things that happened last year, one thing is clear: we are continuing to make an impact in the community through our efforts, made possible only by your generosity. We have 2 fully functional campuses on Pittner and Campbell Roads and Spring Branch, and collectively we were able to serve 1,700 active participants, both kids and their families, across all of our programs. Consistent with our model, we use recreational sports for elementary age kids as our hook to attract kids to the programs. Now, the numbers that you can see up here are important because this is the starting point, the tip of the spear, if you will, that allows so much of the community engagement work that we do. Families get to know us and trust us through these sports programs, opening the doors to the educational and spiritual programming that really allows us to develop the whole child. Our ministry programs have continued to thrive. This past year, we had over 700 kids participate in one of our faith-based programs, from small group Bible study to sending 300 kids to Christian summer camps. We were able to provide opportunities for these kids to grow in their faith. One of our most popular ministry events is Friday Night Live, or FNL. Kids come and play games with each other and hear a Bible message while their parents enjoy fellowship with each other, creating a real sense of community. Through all of these programs, our participants encounter God weekly and grow in their faith in many, many different ways. Our educational programs are really starting to take hold as well. Just one example is Raul. Raul is a 10-year-old, and he participates in our reading program that we call LEAR. He began the program before COVID, and like too many kids in the community, he was reading below his grade level. Well, through his hard work, supported by the staff and the volunteers, he is now reading above his grade level. And as Kenny mentioned in the video, our goal is that 100% of the elementary age kids will read at or above their grade level before they reach middle school. At the high school level, our goal is to help participants graduate from high school and pursue some form of higher education or training. We work with each of our graduating seniors to develop their T24 plan. Now, T24 means technical, that they'll go to an accredited technical school, a 2-year community college, or a 4-year university, or if they are so called, to join the military. Now, we are proud to say that the numbers of graduates have grown increasingly ever since we started our college prep programming. 2 years ago, we had 24 graduates, and this year we're on track to have 34. And as you can see, Spring Spirit kids are now starting to earn the same kind of educational opportunities that kids from the more affluent part of the school district have always enjoyed, being accepted into some of the best universities in Texas. Now, another way that we deepen our impact is through our competitive sports programs. This past year, just under 300 competitive athletes were selected for the program to continue to further and develop their skills. In fact, we fielded our very first competitive girls soccer team this year, and 3 of those girls were accepted into the Olympic Development Program. Now, this is a highly competitive elite program where they identify and develop talent in young girls. These 3 girls, who range in ages from 13 to 16, will all have the opportunity to travel internationally to Italy and to Spain to test their skills on a very big stage. So imagine their excitement and the life lessons that they will learn from that experience. In addition, under the leadership of our director of baseball, Kevin Witt, I don't know where Kevin is, the boys baseball program is making a lasting impact. This year, the Northbrook Varsity Boys Baseball Program, where most of our kids go to high school, had its first winning season in 28 years. 28 years. Now, there is one person who is particularly proud of that accomplishment, and that's our breakfast chair, Steve Stevens. Steve, where are you? Okay. Steve is a proud graduate of Northbrook, class of 19. Well, let's just say it was more than 28 years ago. Additionally, 2 of our Toros graduated last year and are now playing at the next level, one at Our Lady of the Lake in San Antonio, and one right here in Houston at the University of St. Thomas. Lastly, and very importantly, our participants are matched with caring adults who act as mentors. The mentors engage very actively with your mentees, meeting at least monthly, walking alongside and helping them navigate the ups and downs of their young lives. So if you are one of the 114 adult mentors in this group, thank you very much for your work in helping develop these young lives. And of course, yeah, I heard a clap. Thank you. And of course, it's important to note that we don't do all this great work by ourselves. We have amazing partners that we collaborate with on behalf of our kids and their families. So today, this is a representation of those partnerships. So if you are here representing one of these partners, thank you, thank you, thank you. So to close, I think you can be sure of 2 things. One is we will continue to be good stewards of the financial support that you provide. And 2, we will continue to look for new and innovative ways to deepen our impact. But don't just take my word for it. We will now hear from one of our star Spring Spirit students, Valentine Espinoza. Valentine, they have set the bar high for you, my friend. We have been on a whole child journey with Valentine for the last 12 years, since he was 7 years old. And I can tell you, his story could hardly be more inspiring. Valentine.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I stand before you today, humbled and overwhelmed. Spring Spirit is such an incredible community, and I'm truly honored to share my story with you all this morning. My mother and father dream had always been that I would graduate from a 4-year university. They've only had elementary education, and they wanted better for me. But I always thought that would be impossible. Plus, my dad's in construction, and he's really good at it. And so I've always wanted to follow in his footsteps. Life was rocky for me as a kid, as it is for most kids at Spring Spirit. I was the oldest of 3 brothers, and we were surrounded by a lot of drugs and alcohol at a young age. Our dad went to jail for about 2 years before our parents divorced. When I was in 6th grade, and then my dad got deported to Mexico. But by then, I had been a part of Spring Spirit for about 8 years. At Spring Spirit, I found people who felt not just like friends, but family I could rely on, and who will always be there to support me and any obstacle that comes my way, and they have. Throughout middle school and high school, I spent every opportunity I could at Spring Spirit. I learned so much and had a place I could call home. I played soccer and baseball, where I learned the importance of teamwork and dedication. I attended every Friday Night Live, where I was introduced to Christianity. Saul Cortez became my official mentor, although I consider everyone at Spring Spirit my mentor, and I've had the opportunity to give back to my community through volunteer work. My brother and I even set up a lemonade stand after Hurricane Harvey, which raised $10,000 for the people who were affected by the storm. All this time, though, still felt like college was an impossible dream. But being a part of Spring Spirit, I started seeing people who are just like me getting in and actually going to college. That and Spring Spirit Career Speaker Series is what turned things around for me. The Career Speaker Series is where Spring Spirit brings in professionals from different sectors to help kids know what possibilities are out there for them and how to reach them. Sergio, one of the Spring Spirit staff, knew that I was interested in construction, and so he made sure I attended the month they were talking about careers in construction. That night, I realized, sure, I could be in construction without a degree, but I could go so much more and go so much further with a college degree. So I texted Sergio and asked if I could shadow the superintendent who talked that night. Spring Spirit set up the opportunity for me, and having the chance to see what a superintendent life and work was like solidified that I wanted to go to college for construction science. I realized that it was a way I could be in the environment I had enjoyed with my dad for so long, but in a way that was more sustainable for my career. So after that, I knew I wanted to go to college, but I still didn't think I could. Still, Spring Spirit helped me along each step. They helped me with my schoolwork and my college applications. They also offered me the opportunity to attend a camp called Deerfoot Youth Camp, which is a camp where young men learn to transition from kids to young adults. I attended every summer starting in my 6th grade year. During that camp, we took a trip to visit Texas A&M and College Station. And it made me want to go to college there. I thought that was a crazy dream, but I thought if people believe in me this much, I have to put 110% and go for it. So now I knew I wanted to go to college. I wanted to go to A&M, but I still had to find a way to get in and pay for it. Spring Spirit nominated me for the Posse Scholarship my junior year, which would have helped make my dream a reality. I made it to the final round, but I didn't win. My dreams were crushed. I really thought it was over. That was a tough time. But Spring Spirit kept encouraging me to persevere, and I'll never forget the day I was sitting in my econ class my senior year, and I got that email that I was accepted to the Texas A&M for a construction science program. I couldn't believe it. It was my dream school. So then I had to figure a way how I was afford to go to A&M. Spring Spirit nominated me for the Cal Ripken Senior Foundation, a scholarship that picks one winner from the whole nation, and I won. Then, that day, I flew to Baltimore to deliver my acceptance speech for the Ripken Foundation. I got a call that I was invited to apply for the Terry Foundation Scholarship for another scholarship. The only thing was they needed the application that night and for me to interview 5 days later. It was a crazy week, but I ended up getting that scholarship too. Those two, in combination with a scholarship from Chapelwood United Methodist Church, meant that I was accepted to my dream school, and I had a full ride. My dream, my parents' dream, had come true. Now, after successfully completing my first semester at A&M, I am so glad I persevered. Because of Spring Spirit, I now know the power of a university education, and most importantly, that it was a dream within my reach. Now, I want to inspire my little brothers and other kids who are just like me so they know their dreams are possible too. So thank you. I'm really proud of everything I have accomplished, but it absolutely would have not been possible without Spring Spirit and the people who support Spring Spirit. On behalf of future generation of Spring Spirit kids, thank you for your generosity this morning. Your support really does change lives like it changed mine. Thank you.
Wow. As Brooke, you said, that's a one tough act to follow.
You can't follow that.
Meet my friend Brooks McGee. We were asked to do the ask. He didn't want to do it. I didn't want to do it. There's such incredible generosity in the room. We decided to make this a confession from recovering tightwads. Now, Brooks and I, we have the scars of banking in the 80s.
It was tough.
Prime rate was 21.5%. You had
$10.
yeah, you had a lot of defaults. So we became very tight with our dollar, and we joined Walter Johnson at Amegy Southwest Bank of Texas in 1990. We had 10 wonderful years together. But whether it be lunch or dinner, Brooks and I would go around the corner close to Reynolds and Reynolds, and we'd go to Hart's Chicken, where they had a buffet for $4.99. It was 2 years before Brooks got his wallet out to pay for lunch. And of course, for me, $4.99 wasn't really a big gift. So we've come a long way. And Brooks, I'm so proud of you. Why don't you kind of share some of your sentiments?
That's another hard act to follow. Steve, thank you so much.
Sure.
On behalf of buying all those $4.99 all-you-can-eat buffets during the early 90s, that meant a lot to
We
me.
have a cholesterol problem. But
That's right. That's a whole other issue. As every person here looks back on their life, when you think about it, there are 3 or 4 defining moments. Sort of those fork in the road moments that had you made one decision versus another decision, you wouldn't be here this morning. And in those fork in the road defining moments, there was always a coach, there was a teacher, there was a parent, there was a pastor, Jim Jackson. There was someone there to help us make those right decisions. And to me, that's what the Spring Spirit experience is all about. That we can, for many of these extraordinary kids, like Valentine, that we can be that defining moment, help them in making these amazing decisions that they're making right now. So that's what we're going to talk about this morning very briefly. There's a card on your desk, on your table, and I want you to just look at it real quickly, and I think most of you know what I'm fixing to say. There's 2 pieces to this. First of all, there's how to get involved. We need volunteers. We need mentors. We need those coaches. We need counselors. We need people that can help read. The more people we have to help us, the better. So there's a place certainly to fill out that I'm interested in being a volunteer. I'd like to learn more about Spring Spirit. Perhaps your church or youth group can help volunteer and get together. Boy, we would love to have more and more volunteers to help these wonderful kids. And then on the other side, you'll see there's a place where we can also have donations. You can fill out your name, your address, your credit card number, expiration date, and CVV numbers, and you know all that program. And we would certainly appreciate any donations that you can give us. You have been so amazing in your generosity already. So we know that so many of you have already given. A couple things real quickly. Steve Brooks, Amegy Bank, and you recognize that bank, has agreed to donate a suite on, I believe, May 21st for anybody that will give $500 or more today or do that, where it's going to be a raffle at the very end. And so one lucky person on every $500 you pledge will have a chance for a raffle to have a suite on May 21st, the week after Mother's Day, I checked. So it'll be good to watch the Astros win. Also, we have 1,300 students that come to us annually. We could probably serve 2,600, twice as much, if we just had a few more folks that would volunteer and a little bit more in the generosity. So again, thank you so much. We're so appreciative of you. Anything you want to add?
He looks so different than eating that chicken at Hart's Chicken. Yeah, 19. I'm so proud of you. Anyway, thanks everybody. Let's go with really why everybody's here, not us doing the ask. Okay, thank you. Thanks everybody.
Greetings from Minute Maid Park, where today the Houston Astros take on the Philadelphia Phillies in Game 6 of the World Series. And the Astros one win away from a championship. I don't know that you could ask for anyone better to be on the mound in a situation like this for Houston.
Of course, he's been Mr. Consistent all season long for the Astros, setting records in that regard.
The emotions are definitely there and definitely there on both sides. We're trying to close it out, and they're trying to remain alive. Emotions running high today, but you got to try to remain as calm, as you can.
3-2. Breaking ball, got him! Strike 3 on the hook. Guns a-blazing for Frommer, and there's 2 away. 2-2. Hammer, got him! Strike 3. Valdez punches out the side.
Here's the 1-2 to Harper. Swing and a miss. Got him on a curveball. 9th strikeout for Framber Valdez. That ties an Astros World Series record.
On a 2-1, Alvarez hits a high drive center field. Veer leans back. This game is turned upside down. Bombs away for Yordan, and it's madness in our house again.
A 450-foot home run. He hit that over the batter's eye. 2-2. And that's lined in the left of base hit. Bregman racing to third. He's around third and coming home. Ball's bobbled by Schwarber. Bregman scores. Vasquez with an RBI single. 4-1 Astros.
2-strike knock by Vasquez. What'd you expect? That's what the Astros do. He's 1 for 3. Nearest flings a fastball bomb. Strike 3. He went. Split-fingered fastball. And the fish are biting. Neris celebrates as he goes back to the dugout. A 1-2-3.
Astros 4, Phillies 1, 9th inning. Ryan Presley on the try and get the final 3 outs. Mancini playing behind the runner at first. He goes, and the pitch is lifted to right by Castellanos. And foul territory, makes the catch, and the Houston Astros do it again. 2022 World Series champion. For the second time in 6 years, the Astros are baseball's best. A mob scene between the pitcher's mound and second base.
I've heard somewhere before that you could never underestimate the heart of a champion.
It's not my honor and pleasure to give the Commissioner's Trophy to the 2022 World Series champion, Houston Astros.
Best walk-up video ever, ladies and gentlemen. And now, the owner of your 2022 World Series Championship Astros, Jim Crane, and interviewed by Lance Berkman, former Astro and world champion himself. Ladies and gentlemen.
Which side you want? What's up, buddy? Thanks for doing that. Which side you sitting on? Morning. Got a morning of Jims. Heard from Jim Jackson. We got Jim Crane, and I thought Kenny looked a lot like Jim Jones in that video. I don't know. This is not that kind of ministry, though, I can assure you. Did you look at these questions? I got them. Okay, this is the first time I've seen them. So, obviously, great year this year. Very exciting. I mean, it's Houston is one of those, and you have a lot of experience in St. Louis where some of the best baseball fans in the game reside. Now, I will say that, in Houston, when I was playing, this is definitely a football town. And then when we went to the World Series in 2005, the city kind of came alive and became a baseball town. And I think that you've obviously built on that. And when the Astros are good, when they're winning, when world championships are happening, there probably is not a better baseball town in America than Houston. So I appreciate you providing that for the city because it's always fun and exciting when the Astros are good, which they've been for a long time now. So I kind of want to dig into some of how that has happened. But before we do that, I think everybody might like to hear a little bit about your background, maybe growing up, your mom and dad. Obviously anybody that's been as successful as you are had a good upbringing. So who was tougher on you growing up, your mom or your dad? Well, my mom was tough. You had to work all the time. If you wanted something, you had to earn the money. So I had a lot of jobs. A lot of times didn't get to play baseball part of the summer because of work, particularly in college. And so, I got through school. I was fortunate, played baseball in high school, played in college on some good teams at Central Missouri, and I had jobs in the summer loading trucks and doing all kinds of stuff. And I had a full ride towards the end, and so I thought I paid for everything. I even bought myself a car, and I graduated, and my mom came to graduation, brought my grandmother, and she gave me an envelope, and I said,
gosh, Mom's going to give me, I looked in there and there was a note. I thought it was a check. It was a bill for $2,200. She says, this is what you owe me that you didn't pay for. So that's how tough my mom was. But I paid her back, so I'm good.
You sure you weren't?
And interest. She charged me interest.
Are you sure you weren't adopted? I mean,
might have been.
So what would you say is the biggest lesson, just the hard work that it takes to be successful? Clearly, I mean, if your mother's charging you rent, that's a little different. So.
Well, no, I think, first of all, this is a great opportunity today for me to talk a little bit, but this spring spirit is special, and you guys should be proud. And we've tried to do a lot with the Astros and getting kids playing. If they don't play and get involved, you heard the story. It's a great story. But I think it lays the foundation for kids to participate, realize some success, and then take that forward. Whether they can play at your level or high school, it's all good because they're learning along the way. And I think it helps them as they get through life, and certainly helped me. I wasn't a great student. I had a coach on my tail the whole time, getting me out of bed. I'd look up at 7 o'clock. He says, you're supposed to be in class, and he'd be right over the top of me. I mean, you're doing that now, probably.
I don't wake up that early, but I tell my guys to go to class.
But anyway, so just that support from the folks in the room and the coaches, and I think that helps the kids a lot, so great job there.
So you mentioned playing baseball in college at Central Missouri. You had a coach there, Bob Tompkins. Obviously, as a coach myself, I can appreciate the impact that you have on your players, good or bad. So can you talk a little bit about Coach Tompkins, the impact that he had on your life, what that meant?
Yeah, he was a great guy. I mean, he loved baseball. And we had some pretty good teams during the time I was there, and got to go to the World Series in college. So he was special. I mean, he would spend time with you. If you had a problem, he would sit down with you. He actually drove to St. Louis one time, 220 miles to come get me, because I didn't really want to go back to school when I was a freshman. I didn't like it. I wasn't making good grades, and he was on me.
Well, you obviously were a pretty decent player, else you wouldn't have bothered doing that.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Well, that year he came and got me. The next year we went to the World Series. I struck out 18 in the World Series.
Well, so, there you go. I mean,
so if he hadn't come got me, that would have never happened. But it really taught me a lesson and got me online. And then after that, it was smooth sailing.
Yeah, if you were hitting 220, he'd be like, "Well, good luck over there at wherever you end up. We wish you the best." So my experience with baseball, college baseball is as much fun as you can have playing baseball. Can you give us a good story about your college baseball playing days, something that stands out to you?
Well, it's a lot of long bus rides, and you get to know the players really well, and still a lot of those players I'm good friends with. They'll come down to spring training. They're like bad colds. They never go away. They're all retired now. But you make great friends along that time, and your players will always remember the guys they played with, and a lot of fun on the bus trips and all the different stuff you did along there. I was skinny enough back then to get up in the top rack because you couldn't sleep in there and you'd go all night. So I'd get up in there and get in there. And one time I was drooling on a guy underneath me and he was shaking me. So there's some good stories on the buses.
Oh, yeah, no doubt about it. So was that Ty Cobb on the bottom, or what? Who? No, he didn't go to Central Missouri. I'm sorry. So being obviously very successful from that point forward, getting into business, I'd like to shift gears and talk a little bit about that. You got business, freight, electricity, you got a winery. I've been to your golf club. It's pretty cool. But you own the Austin Ice Bats. Is that's? Can you tell us a little bit about your venture into hockey in the state of Texas?
Well, a guy that worked with me loved hockey, played in college, and the ice bats were for sale, so it wasn't an expensive venture, but it was played in a barn, I think, over in Austin, but the old arena, the rodeo arena. But we bought it. We'd get about 12 fans a night in there, and it wasn't running real smooth, but we eventually sold it and broke even, so that's all I can tell you. And I didn't know a lick about hockey, but my buddy enjoyed it.
Well, the fights are always entertaining, and I actually think I attended an Austin Ice Bats game a long time ago, so enjoyed that. So this is your 12th year owning the Houston Astros. What is your favorite part of being the owner of the Astros, except, besides winning world championships? What do you enjoy about being the owner of the Astros?
It's fun. I mean, that film, you can't make that up. It doesn't get any better than that. It's been a journey. I mean, when we came in, it was a big mess. The team's revenue was about 170 million. It's losing 20 million a year. I had 8 phone calls, including one from Mr. Floyd. He said, "Jim, you may not want to buy that. You might lose all your money." But we got it turned around. I think we came in, and Luna was the architect on really building the system, and we really couldn't. The players we had that weren't producing, so we traded off, and it was a difficult time, but you could see the progress, not from maybe the fan perspective, but you could see the progress we were making. And then by 15, we got in a wild card spot and made the playoffs and actually beat the Yankees. And I knew that it was working. And so then as the revenues increased, thank you very much for supporting the team, this year the team was over 500 million in revenue. And what that means is we have the resources not only to do work in the community, with the foundation, but also we can put a payroll up to run with the Yankees or whoever you want. Maybe not Steve Cohen yet. I'm still looking for some more money there, but he's going crazy on us. But no, so we've got the resources. We can go from the minor league system. We can also extend some players like Bregman and Altuve into more years, and we can also sign some free agents. So we have a very balanced attack, and every year try to build a product that we know can win on the field. And so, we're in a good spot now, and we just got to keep putting the pedal down.
So when you came in, obviously one of your goals was to change the culture. The organization was not winning at that time. You had been associated with a winning organization, the St. Louis Cardinals, which you and I both have an association with. Talk a little bit about the things that you observed or that you learned from that organization and what you tried to instill in the Astros to make it the winning organization, consistent winning organization that it is today.
Yeah, I was around the car. I caddied for some of the Cardinals when I was a kid, and I parked cars in the garage, and I went to a lot of games, and they just have a deep fan base, and that was from consistency in a winning culture. And so we've really in the last 6-7 years. We'll have 22,000 season ticket holders equivalents. So that never happened before. And when you have that kind of foundation and the consistency and the expectation is high, you can really produce on the field. It really translates right into the field. No offense to Drayton, but when he was running it, he didn't have those kind of resources built out.
Well, he's from Temple, so he did pretty good for being from there, but no offense if anybody's from Temple. I mean, my people are from Georgetown, so pretty close. Yeah, so I think all great organizations, it kind of starts at the top, and I'm curious, just from a decision-making standpoint, I feel like that you guys have made some really good, tough decisions. I mean, that's the hardest thing I feel like in professional sports, or really in coaching sports in general, is figuring out, who to keep, who to let go. And I'm not sure that you guys have gotten it wrong yet. And I thought, for me, this is just Johnny fan looking at it, but when George Springer left, I thought, man, that's going to hurt, because he's really kind of a glue guy that helped that organization reach the heights, early on that we're talking about. But that ended up being a good decision. I think the decision to let Correa walk, even though it's tough, the decision to let Verlander walk, that's tough. Do you have your finger on that? I mean, are you making those decisions? Are you trusting your people? Like, how does that work? Because it's been a really impressive thing to watch, and it's not easy.
Well, let's get this straight. If you think you're going to get them all right, you're wrong. If anybody tells you they got it figured out, you can always have a little bit of good luck there. But I think those decisions, once you weigh all the facts and the economics and how the team has to continue to move forward. 4 people at the table this morning asked me about signing Yurley. It's still on the fence, but we've got another first baseman who's a little younger, got very good stats, and so you have to make adjustments. It's not about one individual player. It's about the team. How good is the team? How good is the pitching staff? How good is the the lineup when you make adjustments. And we've tried, you study those things hard, you get a lot of input, and I'm involved in some of the decisions. And basically you try to make the best decision with the best information you have across the board. And when you do that consistently, you're going to get more right than wrong. I mean, that's how it really works.
And so speaking of, I know when you first took over, the Astros sort of went heavy analytics. I mean, it was ahead of the curve in terms of, the science behind what guys were doing. There wasn't a lot of people doing it in baseball. And when you were losing 100 games, I just remember, the low-hanging fruit of shifting guys. Everybody was kind of like laughing at that. But then obviously you've had the last laugh in that regard. To what extent is the analytics still driving the Astros machine? And is it, because I know there's sort of, whenever a pendulum swings one way, there's a tendency for it to swing a little bit back the other way. Where are the Astros right now in terms of the use of analytics and some of the advanced things that you really were kind of at the forefront of introducing?
Yeah. Two things that Lunau brought in was the shift. I mean, we were shifting like crazy early on. I'll never forget Dallas Keuchel complaining. In one game, a guy hit a line drive right into the shift with 2 on and 2 out, and that would have been a double or something. And then he came in, he said, "Man, I love that shift." I mean, but the numbers worked on the shift, and now they've eliminated it, so it really took a lot of hits. So we figure Tucker and Alvarez have 20 more hits this year, just not being in the shift. You didn't see the shift that much, but if you
because I could hit it the other way. I mean, I don't know, guys.
Well, I wish you'd teach them to do that, but no, the analytics are big, and we continue to be very heavy on the analytics side. I think now with the GM we have, he's more scouting and player development. We kind of got away from that a little bit and cut back on the scouting. So I think we have a really balanced attack now with Dana Brown. He is an expert at selecting talent and developing players. And, yesterday he called me and said, "Jim, I need a cross checker. I need this, I need that." I said, "Okay, let's go get it." So he's bringing in some more folks to go back to a little bit more old school, but all of that stuff is still there. And I think you've seen a shift, with Dusty and Bochy going back to Dallas. They're bringing in some of the older mind coaches that are a blend of analytics and a blend of old baseball and really knowing the players and who plays well under pressure and that sort of thing that you can't put on a piece of paper a lot of times. So I think we're in a really good spot, and I think baseball's kind of now it's swinging back a little bit.
Yeah, that's good because sometimes old guys like me might be looking for a job, and if it's only computers, we won't be able to get one.
No, all my analytics guys walk around holding their computer typing. I mean, you look at them, they're always down on their computer. They're good.
Yeah, but I mean, it's still a human game, and that's where the pendulum kind of swings back. So, swings back this direction. So, is somebody going to give me the wrap it up signal? What time is it? Oh, okay, we got 1 minute. No, so let's bring this thing to a close. So this is one of these standard interview questions, and I've been interviewed occasionally. I get interviewed, but one of the things that people want to know is like, what advice would you give to young people? Stay in school, stay off drugs, make a bunch of money. I mean, give me something. What would you say to a young person?
Well, I think teach them to communicate and. I said it earlier, the harder you work, the luckier you get. You got to show up, you got to be on time, and you got to be engaged. And, I always tell the staff at the park, don't send anybody out of here upset. They drop their popcorn, give them a new popcorn. They get stuck out of the building, let them back in. Everybody goes home happy, but just the kids that are going through the experience you're allowing to go through, I think is a really big builder. So don't give up and keep, this program is great. We've had about 11,000 kids play through the Astros system in the city parks, and 40 of those have gotten scholarships to college, and 2 have gotten drafted in that 11 years we've worked on that community leaders program. So I think keeping kids engaged, go to class, work as hard as you can. You don't always have to be the best of the best, but if I'm interviewing someone, and I look at their resume and I see they played, some athletics of some nature in an organized setting with high school or college. That I oftentimes, depending on what the function is, that resonates with me, and I can tell you that two things will happen with those kids. One, they will work hard, they will show up on time, and they'll be a team player. And those are key in any businesses that you have out there, and that's what I used a lot when I was running the businesses, and still do. So that's a big thing that you can help these kids with.
For sure. So last question, and we'll leave it with this, but what would you like your legacy to be? Maybe as an owner, as a businessman, what do you want people to remember about Jim Crane?
I'm not done yet.
Oh, I'm sorry.
We're working on the next one this year, but no, I don't really look at that too much. It makes me very happy that we've been successful, and the engagements of the fans and the cities and what joy it brings to the city is enough for me. So thank you very much.
Well, I think we can all agree that best owner in the city, although it's not really tough right now.
No, it's not.
But I would say, I would personally say one of the best owners in professional sports. A lot of success. Keep it going. We're all rooting for you. Thanks for coming out, Jim. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Thank you all.